crap. All right, you guys, a little quick update. Got another member of the family. I told you, I mentioned that a few times before. It's such a waste of money to get signature guitars, by artists or whatever. But yeah, it's just I don't really agree with it. But I ended up buying two. So, but the two that I bought, like, they're kind of like, well, they're nobodies. That Greg Koch or whatever his name is. I've got that Gristlemancer Telly, right? Well, I had to get Pete Anderson. Has always been a big inspiration as far as a country picker. I mean, I know there's a ton of great country pickers and Billy Strings and all those guys that chicken pick and stuff like that. But one thing I liked about Pete Anderson, who is Pete Anderson? He was a producer for many years for Dwight Yoakam and his early and mid performances later in the year. And then they kind of Pete and he was his guitar player too. Pete played, he's got the style that I like. And what I mean by that is, like, of course, I would flip over to a bluesy Hendrix style. And then I like to switch over to, well, I'm not really much of a chicken picker, but, do those pedal steel and a little bit of chicken picking kind of stuff for the country. So that's why I'm really into country blues. That's what I like, country blues. And but anyway, so yeah, this was too good of a deal. It was used, didn't buy it new, but I got a really good deal on this. Another Reverend. We're made right here in the USA. Anyways, this thing's so bitching. The Gristlemancer is just bitching. It's bitching too. But this one here, I'm going to get back to you next time. I forgot the name of the pickups that he put in here. These aren't the stock pickups that come in the Reverend. He gave them to me. I have the stock pickups. But these bad boy he's got in here, very, very warm. Really, a little warmer than the Telly. It really pushes. It resembles a lot of a P90, which I love. I love P90s. That's probably one of my favorite pickups besides vintage Fender Strat pickups. From the, early 70s and earlier. The pickups back then they're just so damn warm and so bitchin'. But anyway, so yeah, I've got this thing here and it's got a rosewood neck on it. I wanted to get a thing, but, we'll come to find out, I did a little homework. For some reason, I always thought that the maple was a tad warmer, probably not to the human ear, really, but it's slightly warmer. The rosewood is slightly warmer. I always thought it was the opposite. For some reason, I thought the maple neck was a little warm, but it's not. It is the rosewood that's actually got a little bit, But anyways, this thing is just, oh God, it's beautiful. And you're asking, like, what is this little guy right here? It's a little palm bee bender. I love it, man. But I got to figure out what kind of licks I can use the bee bender, because I'm not used to playing with the bee bender. I've got benders on my lap steel up here. My what is it? Oh God, my Recording King. I have a Recording King laptop, and I went and got those. Oh God, I can't remember his name either, but he's in Germany and he builds these benders. So I've got a B and G bender, and it's really cool. And I always wanted to get a guitar with a B bender on it, but I wasn't sure what type because it's so different. I didn't even know they had this one's real. It doesn't mess with the modification of the guitar one bit. Not one stinking bit. Yeah, you don't have to do any modifying. With the other B benders you got to do some modifying, especially if you want to pull down. You got to route out your guitar. This thing is just amazing. Freaking 6 bolt, or I get 6 screw neck on bolt, screw on neck. I don't know why they call it bolt because they're not bolts. But anyways, yeah, no, God, the neck is nice. It's got a nice, I believe it's either a 9.5 or a 10 radius on the neck, but nice and thin. I just dig it. It's got locking tuners just like the Gristle does. But yeah, so now I got 2 Reverends. I don't know. I dig that. I've seen Pete on stage with this damn thing, and I'm just like going, "Oh man, this thing's bitching." I mean, watching him play that thing, I was just like, because I've been real close in watching him play, and yeah, just, whew, God, the guy just smokes. But anyways, yeah, this is one of many of his reverends that he has. I'm sure he has like a regular telly, like a standard telly or whatever, but yeah, this is his signature, Pete Anderson's signature. Matter of fact, you're going to see it upside down, but you can see it right there. Boom, Pete Anderson. But yeah, oh God, these pickups there sound so bitchin'. But anyways, one of these days I'll get a nice clean sound for you on that thing because it sounds bitchin'. But anyways, I was tweaking out my little ignitor right here, my little 20 watt tube, which is a great little amp. But anyway, so subject today is about. Oh, let me go to my phone here real quick, if you don't mind. What's this? I got a text message. Oh, AAA. Okay. All right. I gotta see. I gotta go to here. Oh, hang in there. Bear with me. I'll probably cut this out. Do 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 do. All right. Okay. Here we go. Okay, this is a subject I want to talk about a little bit, and it is, and it's important. Once you guys get out there and you start knocking on the doors, you guys start lining up gigs. One of the things you're going to need to put in your, I don't know, certain steps. When you go walk into a venue and you check the room out. This is about basically volume and intensity. So I myself, I'll walk into a room and I'll check the room out. If it's an early crowd there or whatever. Usually I get there pretty early, but anyway, so I'll get there, and you need to kind of feel the crowd out a little bit. Check be visual and look and see what kind of room you're playing in, the intensity of the room, the vibe of the room per se. Yeah, just kind of fill the room out a little bit. Now, this is not so much, well, this actually goes for all artists, not just solo artists, but bands too need to kind of do this too. When they, of course, a lot of times they'll come in early to do a sound check. There's nobody there. They can't really read the room. But anyways, and it depends what you're doing. But I go in, I read the room, and these are usually restaurants and stuff like that, and I'll read the room. I'm going to decipher is it a dinner type crowd? Do they want kind of laid back background songwriters kind of music on the acoustic, or do they want more pop or more classic rock kind of stuff, or do they want country? You just kind of have to read the room. Or is it a kind of a rowdy crowd? You go in, it's noisy, and a lot of people are just the pool table in the back, and they're going up. So sometimes the room is loud, and if the room is loud, that means you're going to have to adjust yourself and adjust your set, your song list, and try to you're really trying to map out your performance for the night, because like I said, you don't want to start playing songwriters music if there are fights going on at the bar, or people are screaming and hollering and the volume level is high in the room. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do the ballad songwriters kind of stuff. You kind of want to kick it up a notch. So keep that in mind. So you need to have some upbeats songs that can kind of cruise along, got a nice beat. Or is it a dinner crowd? Do you want to do James Taylor? Do you want to do other kind, whatever, Elton John, whatever you want to do. So yeah, it's important because otherwise you're going to get blown in the weeds either way. So if you're playing upbeat stuff and people are going to kind of be moving away from the front of the stage and probably want to go grab a table in the back to eat if it's a dinner crowd and they just don't really want to listen to in your face kind of classic rock kind of stuff, because some of that stuff even on acoustic, and being that a lot of us use the beat buddy, the drum machine, and that gives it a good beat, and so yeah, it's important to really feel out the crowd. I just wanted to put that out there, and it's important, and because like I said, you don't want to play opposite of what the crowd is like. If it's a loud drinking crowd, yeah, hold off on the James Taylor kind of stuff. Maybe throw that in at the end of the evening or stuff. But yeah, you kind of want to go through your little more upbeat, and it doesn't necessarily have to be upbeat, but just not real classic songwriter stuff. Just play classic rock. And you can get them going with an acoustic and a drum machine, even just with an acoustic. Like I said, I've seen solo artists on acoustics in loud bars or whatever, or restaurants, and they're partying, they're all jacked up or whatever. And I've done it. You got to bring the house down. You got to do some good tunes. They're going, oh my God, the Rolling Stones, they're going to love this one, Dead Flowers, or, stuff like that. And yeah, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So really, I made a couple notes here. Let's see. I totally veered off the notes. So volume and intensity. Observe the venue. Generally volume and your and adjust your audio. Basically, what it's saying is adjust your volume according to the room, according to the audience, and according to the mood. Let's say. I didn't say that, but and if they're rowdy, yeah, you're going to probably have to turn it up a little bit because, right, there's a lot of background noise. It's a dinner setting. You're going to want to keep it down a little bit. You don't want to be too loud. As far as volume-wise, I told you I turn my speaker around and I'll do a quick sound check. And I always just make sure the drums and the acoustical guitar are at the same level on the sliders on the board, right? I pretty much keep them, or just make sure that they're at the same level, because it does depend on what, I always gain stage. So I'll gain stage before I start farting with levels. So I'll gain stage at first, and then I'll start bringing up levels. So just have the guitar. You want the guitar out there, not loud, but out there and cutting through. And the guitar and the drums. The drums are always going to cut through, but you want those drums up there. You want those drums in there in the mix with the guitar. So because that's your rhythm section, right? Because it's really like a 3-piece band. You've got your top strings, your E, A, and B, or E, A, G, and then those are your heavy strings. So you're kind of using those as your bass strings is what I do. I'm a half a step down. So yeah, you're basically, make sure the rhythm section of your mix is nice and even. And then your vocals, always have your vocals. I don't care how shy you are, or you just, whatever, you're just starting off. You really got to just bite the bullet, because I was always afraid. I never always turned but now when you want a professional mix, make sure your vocals are just on top of your rhythm section. Just basically it's the same theory as I do when I'm recording on my recorder inside the trailer. That's basically, your vocals got to be on top. In some instances, the vocals can be in the mix, in the rhythm section, because it depends on what kind of song it is. And sometimes the vocals sound good in that mix, in the mix. So yeah, on certain songs though, only certain songs. But for the most part, 99% of the time, you want your vocals on top. Where I'm talking about acoustic gigging and recording. But yeah, you want those vocals on top. You want to make sure the vocals are cutting through. There's nothing worse than sitting there having lunch or having a dinner and eating a pizza or eating a steak, having a nice cocktail, and you're listening to this guy's, this guy or girl playing up on stage, and it's like they're good. You could tell they're good, but their mix sucks. And she got her, or he's got his voice down in the mix, and all you really hear is guitar and drums. You don't really hear the vocals are really not, or they're just in the mud. Don't do that. Don't put your vocals in the mud. Make sure your vocals are on top. And what I mean by on top, I don't mean way on top. Just make sure they're cutting. Just make sure that they're just above your rhythm section, your guitar and your drums. Just slightly above. And you're good as gold. There's nothing worse watching artists play and their fucking vocal volume is low. You can't hear them. It's like, it's aggravating. If I'd be sitting there, I'd be like throwing my steak at them, No excuse for it. You got to get that vocals out there. Hey, I love you guys all. Listen, thanks so much. If you can, hit the subscribe button, because I know there's a ton of you that aren't subscribed. So if you can help me out, if you don't want to donate for the cause and keep the channel going, on my donation below in the description, just subscribe or give me a thumbs up or do something, and let's hang out and talk about what we do and get to the nitty gritty of this, because I want to expose and talk about everything I can, because we've got a lot of new people coming out there to play, and another generation behind us. So it's important for them to hear about what we go through and how we do things and all that good stuff, and how we go about putting on a great performance. That's the bottom line. All right. Ciao for now. Talk to you next week.